Hi everybody, my name is Danielle Nicole and welcome to Monetary Makeup. I have an extremely exciting video for you guys today. So I actually did an affordable / drugstore makeup look versus high-end. So if you're curious how I got this look, definitely stay tuned and we'll go into the details and I'll show you how you can get this exact same look, whether you want to splurge and spend with high-end makeup or save a little bit of money and get the exact same look. All right, let's get started right now. So today is going to be all about a full face of makeup for drugstore versus high-end. And while I share with you my drugstore versus high-end finds, the topic of the day is going to be the 2 biggest reasons your retirement can go bankrupt. So as I said, this is a video you definitely do not want to miss. So if you're excited to get started, don't forget to hit the like button and let's get started right now. So I do just want to let you guys know that it is raining and thunderstorming right now. So I'm hoping you guys can't hear any of that rain or thunder going on. If you can, I apologize, but hopefully you can't. And I also do have most of the products for a full face. I believe I have everything, but if I am missing 1 or 2 things, I'll let you know along the way. So first, let's get started with primer. So to give the foundation a fair shot, the first product I'd like to go in with is this e.l.f. Plus Matte Oil Control Primer. This is a fantastic primer for filling in pores and also controlling oil, but I find it doesn't dry my skin out like a lot of mattifying primers do. So just to show you what the consistency looks like, it is clear, so when you squeeze it out, it looks just like that. So I actually have way too much applied on my hand, but that's all right. So let me rub this into pretty much my T-zone is where I'm going to be focusing it. And then I'll zoom in so you guys can see what my skin looks like after. Okay, so I just finished applying the primer and this is what it looks like. So it pretty much just smoothed out my pores a little bit and it's still drying down, so you'll notice that it'll start to mattify as I start to apply the rest of my makeup. But it does not emphasize texture and it does not dry out your skin like a lot of matte primers do. Okay, so I typically start off with my brows when I do my makeup. So the drugstore side is from NYX and it's this Lift and Snatch brow pen. And the shade that I find that works best for me is an ash brown. And as you can see, the tip of this pen is extremely precise. So you can really get those hair-like strokes from this pen. Now the high-end brow product that I absolutely love is the Urban Decay Brow Blade. Now this is $26, whereas the NYX pen, I want to say it's about $10 or so. But the major difference is, yes, you get a very precise pen, just like the NYX one, so you can create those very fine line strokes. But on the other side of this, you also get a pencil. So yes, it is more money. However, just know that you do get 2 products as opposed to 1. And don't forget, I'll show you guys up close swatches of everything in a little bit so you can see the difference in the shades and how they perform. So I've got you guys zoomed in. I just finished applying the NYX pen to my left eye and the Urban Decay Brow Blade to my right eye. So I'm just going to lean in a little bit so you guys can see the difference in the strokes. And in case I forgot to mention, the NYX shade is Ash Brown and the Urban Decay shade is Cool Cookie. Okay, so these are the strokes from NYX and these are the strokes from the Urban Decay Brow Blade. It is raining so hard, you guys. It looks like a tornado outside. I know that there is a huge shadow, so I apologize, but hopefully you guys can at least see what the brows look like. Okay, so now for the fun part. I actually just purchased the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Freeze. I've actually never tried this before, but I quite enjoy the NYX Brow Glue, so I figured we might as well go head to head. So I'm going to crack this open, and this is what I use pretty much every day. And it's so easy because it comes with a spoolie already. So all you have to do is basically brush through your brows. And I find brushing this way first helps to kind of keep your brows in place. So I'm just going to brush through real quick. So next, I'm just going to take an extra spoolie, and this is what the brow freeze looks like in case any of you have never tried it before. So it's just a clear wax. Now I know a lot of people say that you should apply the glue or the brow wax first, but my issue is when I use a brow pen and if I make a mistake, you can't go back in and fix it. So that's why I do the brow pen first. So just wanted to point that out. So I'm just going to dip in and get a tiny bit because I heard that's all you need. So I'm just kind of dabbing a little bit in here. And then I'm just going to take the back of my hand and kind of run it through the spoolie. And if we have to apply more, we can. Okay, so let's see if this brow glue is everything it's cracked up to be. Okay, so I definitely took too much. And you guys saw I barely dipped into the product. So you might notice a little bit more product on my brows than you would, but wow. Okay, so ignore the extra product, but look at how much more my brows are sticking up. Holy cow. I mean, don't get me wrong, this NYX brow glue is a great alternative, but that was like immediately sticking up where you just have to work at it for a couple extra strokes with the NYX side. Oh my gosh, can you guys hear that rain? It's like the floodgates are open. Everybody take cover, it's so loud. Okay guys, so next the fun part, the eyes. So on the left side, I'm going to go in with the Stone Cold Fox collection from ColourPop. I want to say this palette was $32, but I actually got it on sale for $25. And on the high-end side, I'm going to be going in with the Tati Volume 1 palette. So the first shade I'm going to go in with from the Stone Cold Fox collection is called Fickle Fate, which is this second brown shade right here. So I'm going to use my ColourPop E22 brush, which is just a fluffy blending brush, and I'm going to apply that to the transition shade. So I just finished applying Fickle Fate, the brown in the transition. So for the high-end side for the Tati palette, we are going to go in with this deeper brown shade right here, and I believe this row is called Ritual. So that's what I'm going to apply to the transition on my right eye. Okay, so next on the drugstore side, I'm going to go in with the ColourPop Play It Cool. Yeah, I almost thought it was Play It Cool, but it's Play It Cool, which is this deeper burgundy shade with shimmer in it. So I'm just going to apply that to the outer corner. Okay, so for the high-end side, we're going to go into the row named Poet, and we're going to use this second shade here, which is also a deeper burgundy with some shimmer in it. So next I'm going to do a cut crease, and what I find works best for covering blemishes and cut creases is the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Concealer, and it's only $7, so it's a great bargain, but the formula is fantastic. I don't know why, but I find it so satisfying watching other people do this. Am I weird? Do you guys like that too? Alright, that side's done. I'm just going to go in with the other side real quick. Okay, so now that the crease has been cut, let's start off with the ColourPop palette. And the shade I'm going to go in with is called Baby Doll, which is this shade right here. It's kind of like a golden shimmer. And I find that using my finger, particularly with ColourPop formulas, works best. So I'm just going to take my ring finger, and this is what the shade looks like. And I'm just going to kind of pack that on where I cut the crease. Okay, so now that Baby Doll is on this side, next let's go in with that Aura shade, which is this shimmer shade right here. Same thing, just going to use my ring finger, and this is what this looks like. And I'm just going to pack that on. Next, let's go in with a faux eyeliner, as I call it. So I'm just going to use this e.l.f. flat liner brush. And on the ColourPop side, my left, I'm going to go in with the shade Rumor Mill, which is this kind of deeper gray shade. This is my favorite way to apply eyeliner as a blonde because I find when I wear deep, dark eyeliners, it just doesn't jive with my skin tone and just kind of looks too harsh. So I find using eyeshadow as an eyeliner, it just looks a little bit less harsh. Okay, so next for the faux eyeliner on the high-end side, we're going to go into the memory side, and I'm going to use this metallic shade right here and mix it with this shade as well. Okay, so eyeshadow is done except for the brow bone and the inner corner, which we'll do in just a little bit. But I just wanted to point out that the Tati palette has beautiful glitter shades across here, and that's part of the reason I ordered this palette, because I didn't have any high-end glitter, and I realized the Stone Cold Fox palette does not have glitter. But if you are looking for an alternative, I was at my local dollar store the other day, and LA Colors has these glitter palettes for $1. So I picked up these two shades right here. So this one has blues and is a little bit more cool tone, and this one is of course a little bit more warm. So I swatched them and I found that a lot of the shades looked very similar. So once again, if you're looking for an alternative for the glitter, I would check these glitters out from LA Colors. I mean, typically you won't hear me say for the price, they're good, but this is a situation where the formula is not amazing in comparison to the Tati palette, but when you do apply it to your eyes, you do get the same effect, and you're only spending $1. So highly recommend these glitter palettes if you can find them at your local dollar store. Okay, so lastly for the eyes, I'm going to use the Essence Lash Princess Mascara, which is only about $5 on the cheaper side. And on the high-end side, I'm going to go in with the Tarte Lights Camera Lashes Mascara. So I'll be right back. Alright guys, so I just wanted to pop on really quick and show you what the ColourPop palette versus the Tati palette looks like, as well as the Essence Lash Princess Mascara versus the Tarte Lights Camera Lashes Mascara. So let me come in close. So drugstore or affordable versus high-end. In real life, there's not much of a difference. I would just say that this side is a touch more cooler, and this side's a little bit warmer. Alright, so next let's move on to the skin. Okay, so now that the primer has had a chance to soak in, on the affordable side, I'm going to go in with the Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator. I use the shade Porcelain. And on the high-end side, I'm going to go in with the Tarte C Hydra Serum Foundation in the shade 14B. So you guys know I'm actually a sponge person, but these types of videos take a very long time to record. So I'm just going to use my Shop Miss A AOA brush, number F2. I talk about this brush all the time, and it's only $1, maybe $2, and it is absolutely beautiful for foundation. My hubby always says when I have my cat ears and my headband on, that means business. And it does. I just can't stand when any of my hair gets in my face. So I'm going to squirt out a little bit of the Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator. Now this is only $5 and it is beautiful. I included this in my recent Holy Grail video. I'll try to remember to link that up here for you guys. But it is just absolutely beautiful. Not taking into account the price, it is just gorgeous. Now this Tinted Moisturizer, I just wanted to let you guys know that I do find you can actually take it up under the eyes. So if you have textured skin like me, you're in your 30s or above, it does not emphasize texture. And you guys, this Tinted Moisturizer, it has phenomenal coverage. You'll see when I do a close-up that the coverage that you get from this, I don't know how they made such a beautiful foundation so affordable. I mean, I honestly would pay a high-end price tag for this tinted hydrator. It's just a bonus that you get such a great product, and it's literally $5. Like, you cannot beat that. So I took this right up underneath the eyes. So no foundation, foundation. Alright, so next I'm going to squirt out a little bit of the Tarte Hydro Flax. Now this comes out in drops, and same thing, you get beautiful coverage with just a few drops. I always end up squeezing out too much, but it's good to know because this is a $42 foundation. So I'm just gonna dip in and get this side on real quick. Okay, so just to show you guys how much product I have left, on the top is the Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator, and on the bottom is the Tarte Hydro Flex. So again, I only squeezed out a tiny bit, and it covered half my face very well. So, affordable Wet n Wild, Tarte Hydro Flex C. Comment down below, do you guys notice a difference so far? I'm actually surprised. I think it looks pretty similar. Kind of has that nice, radiant, natural finish. So, yeah, looking good so far. Okay, so next for contour, we are going to be using half-caked candy paint bronzers in the shade Coolness on my left side, which looks like this. So as you can tell, it has a very cool undertone, extremely pigmented, and I actually got a set of 3 of these, and they have blush, bronzers, and highlighters for 22 bucks, so less than 10 bucks for one of these, versus the Fenty Cheeks Out Cream Bronzers, and I like the shade Amber for contour. It has that grayer undertone as well, but these are, I believe, $32, so 10 versus 32, so let's see how they do. Okay, so if you guys have not tried this brand Half Caked, oh my gosh, I highly recommend, especially these candy paints. So don't get confused with them being affordable. These are so pigmented. So literally I'm just going to take this is a Real Techniques brush, number 447, and it is perfect for doing contour. It just has that nice shape. So I literally dip in once or twice. So let's start off with my nose. Look at that. I mean, I barely put any, so I need to wipe some off on the back of my hand. And I need to blend this out just a little bit more. This brush, you guys, is incredible. You can't buy it individually. It was in a set at Ulta, but I highly recommend, and it's actually a dupe, I think, for a Luna brush that I also talked about. I want to say in that Holy Grail Hidden Gem video as well. Okay, so next let's do the same thing. Just dip in once or twice. And I knocked a little extra off this time. And I'm just going to create some definition on my cheekbone. And kind of blend up and out. These are some of the most beautiful cream bronzers I have ever tried out of any high-end or affordable brand in my life. Look at that. Just a couple little swipes and you can definitely tell a difference. It's just beautiful. Okay, so I just cleaned off my brush, so next I'm going to dip into the Fenty Amber shade. Same thing, just dip in a couple of times. Wipe a little extra off, and let's do my nose. So these are actually pretty pigmented, but the Half Caked are even more pigmented. So if you have a deeper undertone, I highly recommend looking at that Half Caked brand, because I know when you're deeper, a lot of brands say it's nice when you can build it up, but that's probably not helpful if you have a deeper undertone. If you have to apply 500 layers, that's not really helpful, you know? Okay, so got the nose done. So next, let's dip in a little bit more. And do the same thing. Apply that to my cheekbone. So what I always do, just a quick tip, I first apply it this way, and then I turn the brush this way and kind of go in an upwards motion, and that just helps to blend everything out. Alright, so Half Caked affordable on this side versus Fenty Amber on this side. Okay, so next let's go in with bronzer. Same thing, I'm going to use the Half Caked, but I'm going to go in with the shade Morning View, which looks like this. It's more neutral, leaning cool. And on the high-end side, I love the shade Butter Biscuit from Fenty, which looks like this. So I typically use a different brush, but I don't feel like getting up right now, so I'm just going to use this e.l.f. angled brush and dip into Morning View. I dipped in like once, maybe twice, because that is all you need. So let's start off with the forehead. Oh, these are just so beautiful. I cannot get over this brand. I'm sorry I talk about Half Cake so much, but oh, they just make beautiful products, and I don't know how they do it so affordable. I really don't. So I'm going to dip back in and then just apply a little bit to add some warmth back to my cheekbones. Okay, so next let's go in with the Fenty Butter Biscuit. And these are pigmented, but I'm going to dip in a little bit more. And let's start off with the forehead. All right, dip back in again and add some warmth to the side of my cheekbones. Oh no, it's starting to rain again, you guys. Ah, if I can get through this video in one sitting, it's literally gonna be a miracle. All right, next let's move on to blush. Okay, you guys, if you like cool tone blushes, I found the Holy Grail affordable blush. So, AOA from Shop Miss A. These are cream blushes and they are $1, maybe $1.55. But nonetheless, under $2, and they are beautiful. So this shade right here is the shade Bloom. Don't forget, I'll do swatches for you guys at the end of the video, I didn't forget. So we'll use Bloom on the affordable side. And one of my favorite blushes is actually from Urban Decay. These are the face and lip tints. You guys, no one talks about these. I think because they say that they're a tint, a lot of people probably think that they don't have much pigment and they don't last. But I find they have such a light formula, but they are really pigmented and they do stain your cheeks. So at the end of the day, you still have a ton of blush left. So one of my favorite shades is the shade Quiver, which looks just like this. All right, so let's get started with application of blush. Okay, so I'm just going to use my finger and dip in to this Bloom shade from AOA. Ooh, I've actually used another one of these before, but it was more of a neutral shade, so I guess I just wasn't expecting it to be that pigmented. Oh my god, you guys. Again, this is $1, like holy cow. Oh my gosh, I might have, okay, so if you guys like that naturally flush look when you're cold, man, this is gorgeous. Okay, I need to take my foundation brush and just blend this out a little bit. I was just not expecting this shade to be that pigmented, so if you get this shade Bloom, just keep that in mind. All right, so same thing for the other side. Just going to take my finger in the Urban Decay side. See, same thing. They are super pigmented for being a tint. And I find they do not pick up your foundation because I know that's also a concern, but it does not happen with these blushes. I also like the shade Bittersweet, which is actually a purple shade, but it's a little bit more pink than purple. So if you looked at that shade and you thought, I don't know if I can pull off purple, if you have a cool undertone, I also recommend that shade, but Quiver is definitely my favorite. Okay, so for highlighter, this is from the same Shop Miss A AOA line that are only $1, and the shade I have is called Grace. These are beautiful highlighters. If you like more of that wet sheen look with zero glitter or shimmer, these are a beautiful alternative. So this time I'm just going to take my ring finger and, okay, so same thing. These are more pigmented, so I'm going to just dab off a little extra because we can always go in and add more. And let's start applying this here and see how this looks. Wow, can you guys see that sheen? I'll show you in a second up close, but wow. So instead of doing an eyeshadow, I'm going to take that same highlighter and apply it to my brow bone as well and just kind of connect it into the rest of my skin. Okay, so next for the high-end side, we're going to go in with the Stila Heaven 2 highlighter. I have these in pretty much every shade. I absolutely love these highlighters. They're actually a putty formula, so they're kind of a mix between a liquid and a powder in one, and they are phenomenal. So same thing, I'm just going to take my ring finger, and this is what the consistency looks like. And it is a putty. If I were to push my finger in here really hard, it would leave kind of an indent, but I don't want to ruin it, so I don't want to do that. So let me apply this, and then I'll show you guys up close. Okay, you guys, I will give you a close-up in just a second. I just finished applying the Transcendence shade for the highlighter on this side and the Shot Miss A gray shade on this side. I also applied it to my inner corner, and I went in with the brown shade on each side for the lower lash line. So lastly, let's do lips. Okay, so for affordable lips, let's go in with the Beauty Creations matte lipstick, and I have the shade Totally Nude, which looks like this. So I'm going to apply that to my left side, and then I'll tell you what the high-end side is. And on the right side is one of my favorite high-end lipsticks, and this is from MAC in the shade Honey Love, which looks like this. So let me go in and finish up my right side of my lips. Okay everybody, so I just finished up the rest of my makeup. So don't forget to comment down below so far which side you are liking better. So affordable side on my left and high-end side on my right. And just to zoom in so you guys can see what my skin is looking like, the brows, the eyes, the highlighter, and also the lips. In real life, I honestly cannot tell a difference, but I'm curious what you guys think. Is there a side that you like better? I'd really like to know. Alright, next let's cut into swatches, and then we will do the topic of the day. Alright you guys, so I don't have time to swatch all of the palette, but this is the Stone Cold Fox palette with ColourPop, and this is the Tati Beauty Volume 1 palette that I used in the video. Next, let's move into swatches. First up is the Beauty Creations lipstick in the shade Totally Nude. Next up is the MAC lipstick in the shade Honey Love. These are the two half-caked bronzers. The first shade is Morning View versus the Fenty Butter Biscuit bronzer. Next up is the half-caked bronzer in Coolness versus Amber, which is much more grayish in undertone. But what's interesting is both of these all blended out the same on my face. You'll see in the video. Next up are the two different blushes. So the first is the Urban Decay Face and Lip Tint in the shade Quiver versus the Shot Miss A AOA blush in the shade Bloom. Next up are the two different highlighters. The first is the AOA in the shade Grace next to the Stila Heaven's Hue Putty highlighter in the shade Transcendence. Up top we have the two different foundations, the Wet n Wild Porcelain versus the Tarte 14B. And below it is the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Concealer in the shade C4. And lastly are the two different brow pens. So the first one is the NYX Brow Pen in the shade Ash Brown. And next to that is the Urban Decay Brow Blade in the shade Cool Cookie. So hopefully those swatches are helpful for you guys. And next we're going to cut into the topic of the day. Alright, so hopefully the swatches were helpful. Now let's talk about the topic of the day. What are the two biggest reasons that your retirement could go bankrupt? So the number one reason that most people fail in retirement, it's actually due to not having a long-term care plan in place. Now, if any of you have ever researched long-term care insurance, it can be pretty expensive, especially if you didn't pick it up in your younger years. So when I say having a long-term care plan, it does not necessarily mean having long-term care insurance. But the reality is, as we get older, a lot of us are healthy and we think, we're just never going to end up needing long-term care. But I've seen it time and time again with my own clients where something catastrophic happens and now that person needs in-home health care, they need to go to a nursing home, and now they're having to dip into their own investments, and this can be a huge concern if you're not prepared and you don't have a contingency plan in place. So always make sure you talk to your own financial advisor if they're not already discussing the health insurance or the long-term care options you may have. This is something that definitely gets overlooked with a lot of advisors, and it sadly can bankrupt your retirement. Now, the second reason that your retirement could go bankrupt is from not paying attention or not being aware of sequence of return risk. Now, I did actually just do a video about sequence of return risk, so if you're not sure what I'm referring to, I will link that video right up here. But basically, what it comes down to is the order of your returns matter, especially as you're approaching retirement and you need to start to withdraw funds from those accounts. So this is a super quick tip, but I cannot stress how important it is to at least have the discussion with your financial advisor, insurance agent, about having some sort of health plan or long-term care plan. That way, if that happens, you know what to expect and you have a contingency plan in place. And also just be aware of what sequence of return risk is. Again, these two factors often get overlooked, but I've seen it time and time again where they can bankrupt your retirement if you're not aware of these two risks. So hopefully those two tips are helpful if you are working towards your retirement or you're already retired yourself. So don't forget to comment Monetary Makeup down below. If you guys are enjoying this type of content where we do beauty and we also talk about a topic of the day, I have no way of knowing if you guys like this type of content or not unless you leave a like, a comment, or comment Monetary Makeup down below. So if you are finding value, don't forget to leave that in the comments section. Alright, now let's get into the wear test. Hi everybody, my makeup has been on now for about 10 hours. Typically I like to go outside to do these final check-ins, but it has been raining and thunderstorming so much, so it's just not an option for me right now. So just as a reminder, this is the drugstore / affordable side, and this is the high-end side. So what do you guys think? I don't know that I could honestly tell a difference. I'm actually pretty impressed with how well these affordable products work, especially since some of them were from Shop Miss A and they were only $1. I mean, I've used them before, but not in those shades, so they just blew me away. Alright, I just want to thank you guys so much for watching. Have a fantastic night, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys!